It's pre-dawn, a couple of hours before sunrise on the shortest day of the year. I'm driving toward the village of Vatin, near Vršac, along the edge of the Great Banat marshes. The area looks flat, empty, unremarkable. But hidden out there in the swamp is something that very few people have ever seen. They're called the Vatin Circles, and they're almost unknown, largely unexplored. And they're preserved only because nobody really ever had a reason to come out here before. They sit in a salt marsh, barren land flooded much of the year, totally useless for agriculture. And because of this, they survived. I'm hiking out there today with local Vatin Circle expert Tamaš Fodor and his colleagues, who have been studying these circles for years. And so we're here on the winter solstice to witness the sun rising, exactly where ancient people may have intended it to, over the Vršac Mountains. We've left the asphalt now. From here, it's about 1 kilometer through swamp.
Ide dalje. Limbo dentro.
It's nearly 0 degrees Celsius. The ground is cracked, water-filled, unstable. One wrong step, and you're ankle deep in some very cold water. This difficulty is the reason the circles still exist. This land was never plowed. Try to dig here and water immediately rises. This structure is as far as I got last time I tried. Separate video on my failure to reach the Vatin Circles. There were 2 very large dogs here, and I was afraid. White salt residue still covers the soil. Remnants of the ancient Pannonian Sea. As we descend into this marsh, it feels like stepping out of the modern world. No noise, no roads, no buildings. Just fog and frozen ground. And a sense that we're moving backward in time. Orientation isn't easy. The circles are low, just subtle elevations and rings in the earth. You don't really see them until you're standing on them. There's our gang there, they've reached the center. Can you see here the rings? Wow. So we're here. What you're looking at are 4 concentric circular earthworks, about 150 meters in diameter. Look at this. They're made entirely from soil. We don't know if there once were stones or wood here. Stones would have been reused later, and wood would have decayed pretty quickly, based on comparisons with similar circular structures across Europe, in the Danube and the Elbe. These are estimated to date back to 4,500 BC. It's amazing that something that looks so temporary, so unremarkable on foot, lasted 6,000 something years.
That's why, because they didn't plow this place, and we can assume that those trenches were maybe even deeper, and they got full with earth and I don't know, with mud. But when they were built and maybe renewed a couple of times, so they were deeper. and we can only assume what they were doing here because this had this calendar purpose and also cult purpose. So they had some, I don't know, some they did something here, danced, or maybe they sang, who knows. They were waiting for the sun, because in the vicinity they found some musical instruments made out of clay and such things, very nicely decorated. So that wasn't for children, because you don't want the children to break this.
Serious instruments for serious people.
For serious people, for serious purposes, yes. So maybe they had some music here, some dance, some ritual they did together to connect the community, yes. And we can only assume how this looked before, with the deeper trenches and so on. And the central place was enough for a couple of hundred people to stay together and to watch the sunrise that was supposed to happen there. So where Livy is right now, there's a road about 10 or 12 meters wide, and it went straight to the east, because, as you know, as the year passes by, the sun is walking on the horizon, each time for its length, for 1 degree. But straight outside is the real east. So the sun comes out going to the north and to the other side, but they had, from this place, they knew for the 4 sides of the earth: east, west, north, and the south.
Has this been connected to any culture?
Yes, in the close vicinity, it was the central place for the Vatin bronze culture. So
hence the name Vatin village.
Yes, it's the eponym place for this culture, because there was a lot and founds, like pottery and such things made out of bronze. And also there's a large village here, but in the vicinity all around of this big reed is a couple of very big Neolithic settlements. So large Neolithic settlements, so it's even older. You have pottery and obsidian and stone axes from Neolithic times, and those rondels are typical for Neolithic times. So they are built at about 4,500 years before Christ, yes. Here in the circles, you don't have any pottery and dirt and so on, like today in the church. You don't throw stuff in the church, yes. And all around Europe, in the circles, you can't find anything.
So there's no point in bringing a shovel here?
No. A guy tried with the detector. He found just 2 big nails, So there is no artifacts here, but in the close vicinity, it's many. So the circle was always holy. Yes, the circle is intact. So we're not supposed to bring stuff here, because the circles resemble the planets, the sun, the moon, and you are supposed to behave nicely, and I don't know. So whole Europe has between 150 and 200 similar rondels. You don't find anything in the rondels, but in the close vicinity there is always something, yes.
I told you Tamaš was the expert on Vatin Circles. What did I say? 4,500 BC. That would make this older than Stonehenge. The pattern across Europe is clear. The further south these circles are found, the older they tend to be. And there are none further south than right here. They're not settlements. No one would live here. Horses would break their legs in the swamp. Agriculture is impossible. This place only makes sense if it served some specific symbolic purpose. Tamaš was saying that over multiple winters the past 10 years, he and his colleagues have been coming here on December 21st. And most times, fog, bad weather, sunrise not visible. Only twice he saw the sunrise. From the center of the circles, the sun rises from behind the Vršac Mountains on the shortest day of the year. That alone might be coincidence, except the same exact thing occurs at other ancient circle sites across Europe, like Goseck in Germany. Proven ancient prehistorical observatories. A fixed reference point is needed. Here it's the mountains. Where are the mountains?
Mountains are over there.
There they are. As Tamaš mentioned, there's more than just this roundo. Satellite and drone imagery reveal a ceremonial path about 12 meters wide leading east from the circles. And on the equinoxes, the sun rises exactly along that path. So whoever built this place could determine the winter solstice and the spring and autumn equinoxes. 3 critical dates that only matter if you're a farmer. Ancient people couldn't rely on a few warm days in January. They needed to know when it was truly time to plant their crops. Watching the sun told them exactly where they were in the year. Tomorrow's another day. I'm thinking do-over. You know, there's a period of 3 days when the sun doesn't move, December 20th, the 21st, and the 22nd. So have one more shot tomorrow. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
Wasting my time. Next day, good morning. The winter solstice is technically a single moment, but in practice, the sun appears to stand still for around 3 days, which is why many traditions treat it as a 3-day event. And it is why Tamaš and I are returning to the Vatin Circles. We really want to see the sun come up over the Vršac Mountains. As we walk, let's talk about the symbolism and ritual. The circle itself matters. 4 rings, possibly the 4 seasons, or the 4 stages of life: birth, growth, adulthood, death. 4 cardinal directions. This point sits at the lowest end of the great marsh, Veliki Rit. And in the winter, people would descend into here, into darkness, into the fog. In the center, there's an elevation, and one could stand here and face east and watch the sun be reborn. From darkness, light returns. Nearby at Vlaikovac, there are larger circles, as Tamaš said yesterday, around 300 meters wide, on higher ground. And from there, the sun is observed at summer solstice, when the sun is at its strongest. Low point for the rebirth of light, high point for its decline. The contrast doesn't feel accidental, does it? Where exactly is the sun meant to come up? And
There,
that's according to the ancients.
yes.
The
there.
highest peak from the left side, highest peak where the mountain starts, that's the Gudurički.
Gurudichki.
You don't see Gudurički from here because it's covered in clouds.
But that's where the sun will come up.
The left brink, yeah, it's not a very much visibility.
At least we can see the mountains today. Yesterday we couldn't see the mountains.
Yes, but
Now we wait.
I'm afraid we won't see the sun either. But
Let's see.
we will wait. We will wait some. It is supposed to come out at about 7:15.
What did the ancients do when a month goes by and they can't see the sun?
Maybe they predicted a bad year. Who knows?
Solstices were major holidays across ancient cultures. Koledo for the Slavs, Horos in Egypt, Mithra, and later, Christmas. Different names, same date, same idea. Light overcoming darkness. Life over death. Dushan brought his drone, his new drone. So we might get some good shots, at least of the circle. We'll get some good shots. This may be exactly what happened here thousands of years ago. People standing in the cold, watching, waiting, knowing that from this time forward, the nights would shorten.
It's just not the view of the sun, you know, you just feel, everyone feels this energy. I'm not into this holistic druid stuff, but you can really feel something happening when the sun rises.
No calendars, no clocks, just the sky.
If somebody wants to start a cult, it would be a good place to start it here. But no, I won't start a cult.
How about the Black Rose? Did they use this spot?
I don't know. I don't believe.
No.
I don't. No, they gathered in private houses, you know.
The Black Rose, it's a famous cult in Vršac. Faded out, I guess, about a generation ago. I think it faded out. Maybe it's alive and well. I don't know. I'm not a part of it.
I know some people that were part of this, but I didn't hear from this for a long time.
Yeah, it's faded.
For their activities and so on. It was popular in the crisis time in the 80s and 90s, but I didn't hear for a long time about them. So you can see the sun rising. Here's the depiction how it
Tamaš, the sunrise is official right now.
Yes.
I don't see anything.
You can
But-
see little pink spots in the clouds.
Should we celebrate with your uncle's
Rakia.
your uncle's loza?
Loza, yes.
Yeah.
Cheers, really.
Whether they danced, played instruments, or stood in silence, we can't know. As Tamaš mentioned yesterday, clay instruments have been found at similar sites. So this wasn't random. This was ritual. And standing here now in the same cold, at the same time of year, it's hard not to feel that continuity. Some places never stop working.
Imaju oni kao snima kamere, vide ko diže dron, mogu te prijave, mogu ti naprave haos. Ko dođem ovdje čovječe.